Well, hello, kiddies. It's your old pal, John Cassier, the voice of the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. And you're listening to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review podcast. Lights, camera, Hack-tion!
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast. Just want to thank all our fans and listeners. We really appreciate all the support. Just want to give a quick shout out to our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search Don't Go Out There and you'll find Brian's awesome artwork. And quick shout out to our website, don'tgoooutthere.com. It's got all of our social medias, episodes, interviews, our store, and our blog. If you want to check that out, you can find everything that we have. It's on there. And week 2 of Guilty Pleasure Month is Brother Brian's pick. We're throwing it back to 1994 or 5. I can't remember. Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. I'll just give my quick overview real quick. Never seen this. I'm familiar with the Crypt Keeper. I could definitely see this being a guilty pleasure movie. I had a pretty good time watching it, honestly. It was a fun watch. I'll just leave it at that. Brian, do you want to go next, brother?
Yeah, I always loved Tales from the Crypt growing up. And you know, you got to fall in that age bracket, I think. But I wasn't allowed to watch it per se. But it was one of those things where you snuck around at night or watched it as sleepover. So yeah, I was actually going to pick this before, but decided against it. But when Guilty Pleasure Month came along, I couldn't think of a more perfect category for this one. I know this isn't some masterpiece, and I definitely don't think it's a great movie. But hey, it's smutty, it's over the top, it's just pure '90s HBO through and through, and I can't help but love it.
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt is one of those things I used to sneak and watch with my dad. Like I would never, when I was a kid, I'm not gonna lie to you, I wouldn't make it through the full episode without covering my face or even leaving the room. But I enjoyed it, and I really loved the Crypt Keeper's iconic voice and laughter, and so I'd always come back for more. And then I too had never seen this movie until a couple days ago, and I agree 100%. This fits guilty pleasure to the T, because as I'm watching it, I'm like, man, this is so cheesy. Gotta love it. It's such good shit. So it definitely fits that category. Do I think it's a world-renowned Oscar-nominated film? No. But I enjoyed the hell out of watching it.
Yeah, so going all the way back to when we covered the movie Audition, that was the first movie that we did that I had never seen. Fast forward to now, this is the second movie that we've done an episode about that I had never seen before. So Brian, great job picking something that my horror nerd self had never watched in his entire life.
That is 75 episodes in, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. 75 episodes in.
I went a long time having no life. That's all I'm going to say. So, no, middle school Mikey had no life. So here's what I'll say. I thought this movie is a hell of a lot of fun, man. There is so much good stuff here. And is it scary? No, I don't think it's supposed to be. But what it is entertaining. It drags in some parts, obviously, but this fits the guilty pleasure, title so well. It is a lot of fun in a short little time. It's not too long. It's just right. And one thing I think they did really well is the cast. The cast is like your Comic-Con come to life. Like everybody in this movie has a booth at Comic-Con, man, for doing something, And I gotta say, the placement of this movie, which is 1995, is post Shawshank Redemption and pre Titanic. And so to get Ellie Sadler and Billy Zane in the same movie, post one's biggest role and pre next biggest role, it's kind of fun, man. It's really, really fun. And, the rumor is that this movie somehow caught the eye of James Cameron and the people casting that movie and really helped Billy Zane get his role on Titanic, which is that's fucking cool. So again, a lot of fun. There's some cheesiness to it, obviously, but that's Tales from the Crypt in general. So right. you know what you're getting into with that. And look, it delivers on everything that the show does. It's crude. It's got smut. It's got boobs. It's got everything you really want. So it's a lot of fun. I'm excited to talk about it.
Mike just said crude, boobs, and smut. They're all the same thing.
Hey. It's got some humor and it's got no good scares, but that's okay.
That's true.
Well, let's wait just a damn second here. Last week, I picked the Guilty Pleasure movie, and every single one of y'all shit on it. And now we're just giving a love fest to Brian's. I'm going to have to redo my notes real quick. I can't be doing this. Y'all attack me. Okay.
Well, hold on now. We did say it was entertaining for what it was. It's just not a good film. This is much more entertaining than Bones. Come on, brother.
Right.
It's not a competition. It's not a competition.
I see how it is.
Bones fucking sucked.
Oh, my God.
Hold on a minute. I'm not going to say that far, but it wasn't great by any stretch. I almost felt bad listening back to that show, by the way, guys. I felt bad picking on Bones that bad. It wasn't that bad. It just wasn't that good. Snoop Dogg's the man, though.
Yeah, he's just not believable as an apparition. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I dropped that episode like it was hot. All right.
God damn it.
Y'all did a 187 on that motherfucking movie.
All right, that's it. I'll see y'all next week. Hey, don't call me anytime. Thanks. See ya.
Y'all ready to jump in and sing my scene?
Let's do it.
All right. It starts off with some spooky music. It's storming outside, and you see like this POV shot of someone entering this gate and into the house. It's dusty and decrepit. Down into the basement with now it's like some fun music. Then we enter the crypt. Then we hear the iconic Crypt Keeper laugh to a title card. Friend of the show, John Kassir, by the way, friend of the show. Now we see bloody clothes on the floor and a woman on the phone in lingerie talking about how much of a thrill killing is. She's in the tub, and the body that she killed comes up the stairs to kill her now. But then it's revealed it's just a movie, and the Crypt Keeper is the director, and he thinks the killer did a horrible job acting. He now tells the audience, he speaks to the audience, to us, that he's gone Hollywood and has created a movie. I think he says frights, camera, action.
Yep.
I call this Demon Night, he says. Opening credits, and a man is being chased on a quiet road. He stops in the middle of the road when he runs out of gas. He pulls out a shotgun and he shoots the car. It catches fire and he finally jumps out as the car is T-boned and explodes. He runs off. Breaker finally wanders to the halfway house cafe to try and hijack a car, but a little boy catches him. He makes a good excuse, but he runs off when the kid doesn't believe him. He pulls out a knife when Willie pulls up on him, but he's just a drunk. He asks about a place to stay. The cops report on the car crash. A man, the collector, walks towards them. He asks about the man he was chasing. He says he's dangerous. I'm going to flip my page. Willie gets Breaker to the motel. Cordelia, the prostitute, she eyes Breaker down. Geraldine takes Breaker to his room and is asked to make him dinner. He asks which way to town. Wally, the postal worker, vents about his day to Cordelia, and I feel you on that, brother. I used to do that. He offers to get her sheets after Geraldine says she has too much to do. The cops ask the collector why he was chasing him. Sheriff gets a radio that Homer, the guy at the cafe, had his car attempted stolen. Cordelia wants Breaker to hurry eating so she can give him dessert. Irene is giving Geraldine hell over cleaning. Roach shows up and explains why he was late and goes upstairs with Cordelia. Sheriff gets a radio that Irene reported about the whereabouts of the man they're looking for. Breaker asks Geraldine what she did time for. Then the cops and the collector show up. He holds a knife to Geraldine's throat. He lets her free. They handcuff Breaker. Collector is looking for an antique relic key. The deputy searches his room, but hears Roach and Cordelia and watches their kinky time. All right, that's the first two scenes I got. Go ahead, Brian.
So that whole opening part right there is actually that's the classic Tales from the Crypt opening sequence there, like all the way to friend of the show, John Cassier's Laughed. And I love that they use it on this, even though it's not the show. It was awesome. I wish I would have seen it in the big screen. I wish I was old enough to do that. I think that would have been awesome to see. And you get that cold open. That's 100% HBO episode right there, with everything from the gratuitous nudity to the gratuitous guest star and John Larroquette, which if you watch the show, almost every episode had a guest star of that caliber in it, just about. And I do like at first how, like, it doesn't quite like let you know who the good guy is and who the bad guy is. And, you get a pretty decent little mystery set up there for what it is. And let me just say this right off the bat: this is Billy Zane's movie. I think he's just so good in this, and he's actually quoted as saying that this is his favorite performance to date. Which I mean, that says a lot to me based on stuff he's been in, especially Titanic. And Mike, you touched a little bit on the cast to begin with, but you got William Sadler in it. He's been in Die Hard, to Shawshank. I'll always remember him as Death from the Bill and Ted movies because I love those movies. But but and Old Man Willie, if he looks familiar, Dick Miller, he's literally in everything from Terminator to Gremlins to Twilight Zone. That Charles Fleischer, who played Wally, he was the voice of Roger Rabbit and was Dr. King in Nightmare on Elm Street. So everything from my childhood and most of y'all's too. I mean, the cast is there. And I think that's what saves this movie for me. I mean, it's got a decent little script, but the cast to me is what does it. And I also say the actors do a really good job at making this first part like interesting enough to keep your attention, like until the plot really gets rolling. I think so anyway. Because I think that their acting is stronger than the writing, if that makes sense. Another little fun tidbit. And the last thing I've got is that the studio actually wanted Cameron Diaz to play Jerry Lynn, but it was Ernest Dickerson, the director of this, and the Bones, who convinced them to cast Jada Pinkett Smith instead. So I think I think that was I don't know. I can't really see Cameron Diaz in that role. But it is what it is. But that's all I got.
Yeah. So I agree with a lot of what you said there about. I love how they kept it true to the Tales from the Crypt opening. The opening was great. I mean, it's really what you want. Now, in hindsight, in 2020, when you watch it, how bad does that lightning look? My land.
Oh, yeah, it's just
it's bad. But it's so that's what I meant by some of the cheesiness, because they could have just used flashes, but they actually put the bolts across the sky, and that did not age well. But it's okay. It actually adds to how much I love it in 2020. Now, this script actually has floated around Hollywood for years, and until they decided, until they purchased the rights and decided, let's make it a Tales from the Crypt film. And so a lot of it, the beginning and then the ending and then the scene, obviously, in the end when the comic book comes into play. So that's the only real touches they made to make it a Tales from the Crypt, because other than that, this could be a standalone film and do just fine. The car explosion, how ridiculous is that? He shoots a car in the hood with a shotgun and it just catches fire. And then he's haul-assing down the highway and crashes into the other car, and it blows up like they were both soaked in gasoline and someone shot it with an arrow that had a gunpowder tip. It was insane. Yes. And I loved every second of it. I was like, this is ridiculous. And I love it. Billy Zane is great in this film. You're right. This is his movie. He stole the show from his, his sultry voice and the way he carries himself and the way he tries to seduce each one of the characters individually later on. He's great. And I agree with you as well. That's death, man. That's death from Bill and Ted. You can't tell me that's any other character ever. But I love Jada Pinkett's casting decision. I also think it's funny that when we do these movies, they kind of come in clusters, right? Like we'll pick one, and then a couple weeks later, we'll pick a movie that has some kind of connection. How about CCH Pounder, man? She was just Sister Abigail. Orphan, yes, thank you. I was struggling with the name of it, though. So, yeah, shout out to her for getting, this is obviously well before that film, and I think she comes into her own later in years because she didn't do a great job in this movie, but I enjoyed her nonetheless. And I thought that this movie does a good job of having me hooked from the beginning. They do a good job of like you said, you don't know who the good guy is, who the bad guy is, who are we cheering for, what the hell's really happening. And just by that ambiguity, I'm hooked. I'm in. Okay, it's interesting enough to keep my attention.
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of what you both said. This movie, the opening scene, I like how they kind of keep the Tales from the Crypt thing going. That's good. I love the Crypt Keeper here. He's funny. Again, it's a little over the top, a little ridiculous, but whoever the first woman in the opening scene, call me sometime, sweet baby Jesus. But yeah, that whole thing, it's so ridiculous, but it works from an entertainment standpoint. I'm like, okay, where's this going? And then you get the actual opening of the movie, I guess. The car explosion, like Dustin mentioned, little much, but not too bad. What I'll say is, you guys are spot on about Billy Zane. Man, the minute he's on screen, he hooks me in. Like, he's so it makes me wonder, why haven't we gotten more Billy Zane? Like, I know he's had some small bit parts and he's on some TV shows and stuff, but he's great here. Comedic timing is good. His serious acting is good. The voice is good. Like, where's the downfall? And every time I see Sadler, all I ever think is Shawshank. So it's really interesting to see him in a different role. I thought he was good. Again, I think the cast it's a lot of different character actors from stuff we're all familiar with. So for a movie I've never seen, I recognize most of these people from other things. So I'm interested in that way to see, okay, at least I know who these people are. 9 times out of 10, when you pop in a new horror movie, you're like, okay, I don't know any of these fucking people. But in this, it was a really good, like I said, everyone's got a table at Comic-Con right now. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just meant this is a nice collection of character actors. I thought it was really well done. As far as the scenes go, so over the top, so cheesy, but in the best way possible. I'm interested in something Brian hit on that, again, first time ever seeing it, I had no idea who was going to be good and who was going to be bad. So I knew Billy Zane was in it and I knew William Sadler was in it, but I didn't know who's good and who's bad, especially off that first scene when he's, down by the car and the kid walks up. You're kind of like, oh, this guy's a creep or, whatever the fuck. But, obviously we know what's to come, but still, they did a good job leaving that open-ended. I was hooked pretty much from the beginning.
Oh yeah. I'm with y'all. Billy Zane was the best part of this movie. I really enjoyed his role and his acting. He was awesome. Deputy brings Cordelia and Roach downstairs. The sheriff says Breaker died 5 years ago, according to the computer. Willie grabs the relic, the key, from under the table. Breaker tells Willie he's not who he says he is. The collector kills the sheriff. The collector kills the sheriff by punching through his skull. And what a fucking punch. Breaker gets free and presses the key to his face, and then he flies out the window. Collector gives us a show, and then he cuts his hand off and pours his green blood on the sand. It catches fire and then comes together. And I wrote, it looked like kind of like at first a xenomorph-like creature. Mm-hmm. The power goes out now. The creatures invade the house now. Breaker shoots them, then pours a red liquid, which is blood, on the door frame, keeping them out. He grabs one in the head that attacks Geraldine. Roach wants to get to his truck and escape. Wally shoots the creature, attacking Cordelia, but it zaps Wally. Collector tries to walk in, but the force field keeps him out. Irene asks Breaker what they are. Blood in the key or things that can destroy their eyes are their only defense. Breaker goes to seal off the entrances to the house. Now we see lightning strike the key as a man tries to hand it off, and Jesus on the cross in the background. And I will go ahead and say the Jesus thing was kind of weird to me in this movie. Cordelia is pissed Roach left her. They cover the sheriff's dead body and decapitated head. Breaker chases the cat now. Wally and Roach argue. Roach wants the key. Roach gets Cordelia into a room and then slaps her. Breaker tests blood on the cat, and they notice a breeze in the room. A hand touches Cordelia, but no one's there. She hears a man's voice now. She's beautiful, he says. She gets to the window, and the collector is trying to sway her with sweet talk. Just let me in, he tells her. Wally knocks on the door and enters. She says, Wally, you love me, don't you? And then they kiss. All right, Brian, that's the next two scenes I got. There's not a whole lot, but go ahead, brother.
Yeah. Look, hey, for a fairly low budget film, I think these practical effects are really good. I mean,
Yes, Brian. Yes.
you get that
Yes.
you get that head punch at the beginning of these scenes, and I think that looked good as well. I mean, he's a super strong demon, so I'll give him that. He's no Tyler Mane, friend of the show, but he's super strong. But you get that to the demons coming out of the ground. I mean, and everything else, I think they look good. But you get my favorite Billy Zane line in this entire movie right here, where he's just like, he's pissed off outside. He says, "Fuck this cowboy shit. You fucking ho-dunk, po-dunk. Well, then there, motherfuckers." I love that. That cracks me up.
Oh, he was so good there, bro.
I will say a nitpick to me is how everyone is a quote unquote crack shot to steal a line from Back to the Future 2 in the Cafe 80s, which, by the way, Billy Zane was in that movie too. But everybody can hit these moving demons like in both eyes with no problem and 2 bullets. That's the same issue I have with the end of Halloween 2, the real Halloween 2, whenever we eventually get there.
What Halloween 2?
The real one, the one with the number 2, not the Roman numeral 2, the real Halloween 2. And anyway, another one of my favorite scenes in this movie is in the group of them, and it's just a small, nothing big thing, but I've seen it so many times, like I don't know why it stands out to me. But when Billy Zane's walking to the door and realizes it's got a force field, and as the door is being shut, he's just like, "Man, come the fuck on and just give me the key." I mean, it's I don't know, it's like his acting in that moment where he's not mad or pissed. He has that same tone I have with my kid after he's done something I've told him 50 million times, and you're just like, "Come the fuck on, really?" I don't know. I love that scene. I just had to point that out. Overall to me, I think it's another decent group of scenes, but what I really do like is that up to this point, you still don't have the entire story yet, which I really do like. I mean, it's not like they're dragging it out. I think that they do a good job, kind of, I don't know, playing it along, like, waiting until a little bit later to unveil everything. And I like that.
Yeah, so I agree. I like these set of scenes too. There's not a lot to unpack here other than, number one, Bob is a pervert. Like, he had no reason to bust in on Roach trying to get his freak on.
Bob's he's the worst.
Other than he was just trying to see some titties. I mean, listen, Cordelia looks good, but damn, Bob. Anyway, and I did think it was funny when he did bust in. Roach is like, "Get these things off me. My nipples are smoking." That cracked me up. Anyway, I digress. The punch through the face was incredible. Oh my God. I loved every bit of it. And then especially when he like rips the head off and he tosses it over to Bob and goes, "Heads up." Like, I just fucking love that scene. I love the podunk line as well when he's outside and he's just so pissed off. He's like, "The hell with this." I love that line. This is where this is what you're still trying to figure out really what's going on. Like, you get it that he wants the key, Breaker has the key, but what the hell's in the key? He drops the red liquid on it, which we do find out is blood, but still we don't really, I wish we'd have known the significance of it earlier, I guess, in the film, maybe, but it didn't take away from it that much. It's just at this point, you're still like, what the hell's really going on? Right. But yeah, I don't think it's bad. And the green slime, first of all, when he cut his palm over, my God, did you see the pinky nail on that man? But he slices his palm open and throws the green slime. The fun fact that green slime was actually, it wasn't CGI or special effects. That was green slime from glow sticks that the special effects crew broke apart and extracted the green slime. And so I thought that was a nice touch, because God knows if they'd used CGI, it would look like the lightning. It would have sucked ass. But I enjoyed this couple of scenes. It really does. Like, the action has got a good pace to it still at this point, and so I'm still all in at this point.
Yeah. So as weird as this sounds, some of I know there's green slime and nipple clips and all this other stuff, but some of the
if you put it that way,
well, this set of scenes is actually kind of some of the more grounded ones of the movie, which again, I preface my comments for a reason, because it sounds ridiculous without it. But given what's to come later, there's some like grounded actual acting and stuff going on in this set of scenes. Everything that takes place inside the building and stuff, where first of all, I love the atmosphere of this movie. Most of it takes place at night. It's creepy. So that's fun. I I think they do a good job using that. But as far as on the scenes, the dialogue is straight out of the TV show. Like, it is exactly what I expect from Tales from the Crypt, and I think it's good. Like, it's not like some of the acting isn't good, and I'll give her flowers when she earns it, but Jada Pinkett is not good here. This is very early on. Now, she's not awful or anything, but she has better stuff to come. So, yeah. Anyways, I like when they're at the table and Sadler's handcuffed and him and Billy Zane are going back and forth with the cop. I like that set of scenes. It's really good. It's entertaining. Again, I still don't know what's going on yet. At this point, Billy Zane's playing the good guy in my head. Like, I'm not now. I have a little bit of hint of suspicion that something might happen, but I don't know. And I like not knowing. I think they did a good job with that. And again, I know all this is over the top, and we're about to get a demon key, and some of the religious stuff is really weird and bizarre and out there. But I'm kind of expected that going in, so it wasn't totally caught off guard by that. But I mean, this was the second interaction with a weird Jesus thing I had today. Oh, sorry. Am I not allowed to talk about Twitter on the show? Okay. Sorry, folks. All right. But the point is, I enjoyed this set of scenes. I think it's good. And the green, the green slime, a green ooze or whatever the hell it is, glow stick spray, whatever the fuck. It's interesting because normally I would scoff at something like that. If I saw it in a movie, I'm like, oh, golly, get me out of here. But for whatever reason, when it works, and here it works. I'm like, oh, okay, so this thing's condemned, huh? All right. Okay, Billy Zane. I see you, man. So, again, I can be a big hypocrite when it comes to stuff because no other movie done by any other actor would this work, and it worked for me for some reason here. So, once we see the head being tossed and the punch and all that stuff, I think all those effects are good. I'm in at this point. Now, again, we're about to get to some stuff that drags, but I thought it was still really good here.
Downstairs, they hear a scream. They enter Cordelia's room, and she's become one of those creatures.
Nico.
Yo.
Cordelia, call me sometime. Okay, please continue.
Downstairs, they hear a scream. They enter Cordelia's room, and she becomes one of the creatures and has killed Wally. She rips Irene's arm off and tries to escape with the key, but Breaker kills Cordelia with a gunshot to the head. Geraldine says we need to escape through the mines. Breaker says he'll kill Roach if he tries to take the key. Roach takes a sledgehammer to the boards blocking off the mines, and Breaker has a flashback to Jesus on the cross again. They enter the mines. Breaker places blood on the entrance they made. They question if Wally knows where he's going, or Willie, excuse me. Geraldine wanders off another path. She finds Danny, the boy who caught Breaker at the diner. His parents have become demons. They chase them now. Breaker kills the mom, and then Roach shoots the dad demon, but doing so breaks the seal. More demons chase them back to the hotel. Irene says vodka is kicking in. I love Irene. Breaker asks what Danny was doing in the mines and checks him with the key. Officer only has 4 bullets left. Breaker has another flashback to being in war to when he receives the key. He screamed as he sees Jesus' crucifixion. You are the one. Breaker tells Roach we have to survive the night. They need 7 people, 7 stars. It all has to line up. Now he tells about the beginning full of demons. 7 keys formed into a circle. Then God stepped in and scattered the keys all over the universe. They have 6 keys and need the 7th. August 23rd, 1917, he got the key in France. When the key runs out of blood, they bring back the darkness. So now you know, he says. Willie wishes he had his vodka. Roach apologizes and then steals the key as Geraldine asks, where's Daniel? All right, Brian, go ahead, brother.
I don't really have a whole lot in these scenes. I think that Cordelia's makeup looked great in that scene where she became a demon. I do say that. My only nitpick here, as I saw that, I saw the door kept trying to open, so it seemed like he was trying to get out and screaming, and maybe that's just the way I took it. But yet, when he opened the door, he's laying on the bed. So I do feel like, I don't know. It rubbed me a little bit nitpicky where I wrong. I do feel like I needed a little bit more blood with the arm rip out and the eyes being shot out was to me probably the cheesiest thing so far. I'm trying to think of anything that's worse than that coming up, but that's one where I watched and was like, man, that's cheesy. The mine sequence, I mean, it kind of feels a little bit pointless. It's a fun little action sequence, but to me, it felt like filler. It felt like they were trying to inflate the runtime a little bit because, I mean, heck, I think it's only like an hour and a half at the most. So that was probably a little 20-minute scene. So, I think that's the way it felt like to me. I don't know that for a fact. And lastly, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot, but lastly, the whole rules of breaking the seal and stuff like that, like it seems pretty confusing. And I'm not like the biggest fan of explanation sequence. It does seem a little bit like an exposition dump, but I do feel like that they earned it with the first hour of this movie as we're an hour in and you're just now getting it all. I'm glad that they at least tried with that and didn't, just my biggest nitpick that I've said it 50 million times on this show is where, people just miraculously figure stuff out or talk about it in the Scooby van or the Mystery Machine or whatever on the way to go do something. And so, I at least feel like in this regard, it was earned.
Yeah. So in these scenes, I agree right here with with Nico, what he said earlier with the Jesus flashbacks and stuff. It's kind of weird, a little bit out of place. It doesn't feel like it fits. Now later, I think when it's all tied together at the end, I think, okay, like it makes sense, but is there really a need for all the flashbacks throughout the movie? They could have just done it as they're telling, as they're explaining at the end, I think, but it's okay. The hand, when he's about to possess Cordelia and the hand is just creeping up behind her, I had a Bones flashback. That must be a Ernest Dickerson signature because he directed both movies. In both movies, you have the hand just kind of entering the scene and creeping towards the victim, if you will.
That's right.
And so that must be a director signature there. The arm getting ripped off, I thought looked bad. Like, my God. But, and they actually had to fit CCH Pounder with a fat suit to make it look as good as they could. To make the prosthetic look as good as they could. But I thought it looked bad. I didn't mind that sequence in that scene and the whole, there was some action there that I really enjoyed, but it's just the scene, the actual scene of the arm itself ripping off looked like shit. And then the rest of the movie, you're going to tell me she's just going to go on about her business. She just lost a limb. They didn't do anything to stop the bleeding. They didn't caught her. They didn't, they didn't tie a tourniquet. They just let her bleed out, and she acted like she was fine the rest of the movie. That's okay. That's okay. It doesn't, there's demons in this movie. We don't have to be that accurate, I guess. But yeah, this group of scenes is where I feel like the film kind of lags. An hour in, like you said, Brian, and we've had action, where I'm pretty much all in. But then I feel like there's some filler and some fluff in here that just kind of slowed down the tempo that I really wish they'd have kept the foot on the gas.
Everything you both said, I agree with. One, I didn't take a lot of notes here because there's not a lot to take notes on, right, except for her losing her arm, and I think the effects are bad. Man. Now, granted, everything that came before this to me is so entertaining and out there and over the top that I'm locked in and hooked. And this set of scenes just slows the movie down way too much. You get an explanation that I wasn't really asking for, that I don't think is needed. And we talked about that on this show. It's kind of like my approach to prequels, where you're answering questions I wasn't asking. Mm-hmm. Really don't care how they got this key. Don't care. It's more fun just to these fuckers are searching for a key. Like, who cares? Like, I don't care that that ends up being the blood of Christ or anything like that. All that stuff is so weirdly placed and out there. And, that's just a script issue. That's not necessarily anyone's fault except the writers. But scenes just kind of lag right here. And it is disappointing because up to this point, they have a very fun, entertaining movie. And like Dustin said, a little bit over an hour in, and it's kind of like, I hope it picks back up. And it does. But yeah, I just didn't take a lot of notes here because, again, you get dialogue that I didn't really need, and you get a Jesus scene or demon Jesus or whatever the hell, and really, really, really bad effects, which most of the effects in this movie I really except for some of the CGI, like, well, whatever you want to call it, the computer animated stuff.
Mhm.
Like, that's not good, but most of the practical effects of this movie hold up really well. Not in this set of scenes though.
And maybe I've seen enough either 80s or 90s movies where that doesn't, like, to me, like, I think that those effects stand up, those types. I don't think the lightning did at the beginning. Stuff like that looks cheesy, but the stuff on his hand and like the blood, like red thing, to me, I think that still holds up. But I saw some of people that online or whatever that said that they didn't like it either. But I guess it's just kind of a preference thing. And maybe like I said, I've seen so many 80 movies in my life that I just am like, oh, that looks good.
Children of the Corn. I rest my case.
Oh, sir. God almighty. Oh, geez.
Children of Corn.
Children of Corn.
Someone's going to turn off the show for us shitting on that movie, but fuck that movie. Sorry.
No, first of all, I like that movie. I included it on my 10 must-watch movies.
I know. Yeah, I know.
I liked it as a kid. I just haven't seen it in a long time.
All right, we'll pick it one day.
Yeah, we'll pick. No, fuck.
Hey, we're going to have to do it, brother. We're going to have to do it.
Audition part 2. Here we go.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
All right, they go to find Daniel. Geraldine looks under her bed, but when she stands up, the collector talks to her in a room full of sheets. I can help you travel to see it all. If you don't help, it's a whole different picture. He hugs her. Give me what I want and nothing will happen to you. I can keep you pretty forever. She spits in his face. Willie is drinking and Danny is with him. Willie walks into an outdoor party full of topless women. He's in heaven, I wrote. Danny asks if he's okay because he's imagining. He's just standing there just like blank. Collector offers him a drink and then pours another. Irene finds Willie's stash of guns to take out it was Wally, I'm sorry. Why do they have Willie and Wally in the same damn movie? I hate you. Irene finds Wally's stash of guns to take out the post office. Breaker walks in a room and Willie is demon possessed. Back upstairs, the collector tries to sway Irene. Geraldine is being useless while Breaker is being strangled. Roach offers the collector the key for a deal. Willie slaps Geraldine to the wall. Breaker decapitates Willie, but is still attacked by the body. And then Danny shoves the eyes into the deer antlers, which is my favorite kill. I got some Silent Night, Deadly Night vibes on that one, which was an awesome movie too. Roach and Collector try to strike a deal. He gives Roach a sponge so he can clean up the blood. He hands him the key. Roach goes to leave, but is killed by the demons because why would you trust the Collector? Collector prances on upstairs. He gets an arrow to the eye. Irene gets the grenades. She and the deputy detonate the grenades side by side to kill the demons. Breaker tests the blood on Geraldine. He offers the key to her, but Danny attacks him. Geraldine grabs a board in the ceiling and kicks him out the window, killing him. Breaker gives Geraldine the key, and she sees the visions he saw. She has the stars on her hand now, and then Breaker dies from his wound. And the next two scenes are the ending. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so this is probably my favorite group of scenes. I know that it was just a dream sequence, but in that room, that shot of Breaker being eaten by the demons, I thought was fucking great. It looked just like dirty and gross, and like those practical effects, I think they're right on par with any movie nowadays or even then. So I think they look great. And that entire scene is nothing but Zane talking too. Like she never even says a word. It's like it's just all Billy Zane, which is obviously foreshadowing, I think, for that last scene as well. Which we'll get to, but which looks terrible, by the way. I hate that part. But anyway, I also like how when Geraldine like walks out, like you're not sure 100% if she gave in to Billy Zane or not. I keep calling him Billy Zane. He's the Collector, I know, but he's going to be Billy Zane. Sorry. But you're not sure. So it keeps the suspense just a little bit higher for a little bit longer. I mean, I know it shows her spitting in his face, which I wish wasn't in there. I wish that part was cut. So you're even more, not unsure on whether or not she gave in as well. Obviously Willie's fantasy, dream state thing. This is why I loved this movie so much as a middle school boy, I think. But it is hilarious though, seeing it from like Danny's point of view where he's just staring at a wall. I thought that was good. And Zane is the bartender with fucking Brooklyn accent where he's nothing will get you fucked up faster. I love that, man. It's fucking great by Billy Zane. And I laughed when Irene was giving him the finger with the nub too. I love that part. My only nitpick was the Willie kill. I thought they did great with like having him like look normal to Danny, but a demon to Breaker. But his head getting chopped off that easy, that's a pet peeve of mine. I've said on this show 50 million times, it doesn't change here. I don't care for that. Breaker's not some super strong guy, but it just took one chop to cut that dude's head off. No, sorry. But the sponge coming out of Zane's mouth, which by the way, he did that practical effect himself, and it was like his idea. I thought from that to Roach getting what he deserved finally, to a movie having the balls to kill the kid, which I know Mike will like.
Thank you, Brian.
And those practical effects on Danny, I think looks fucking great too. I mean, it was almost like The Thing great. I mean, that's what it reminded me of. But this was my favorite group of scenes in the entire movie again.
I completely agree. This is my favorite set of scenes as well. This is because after that last set of scenes where I felt like it drug a little bit and there was some fluff and filler, this set of scenes puts the foot back on the gas, and it's like, okay, we're in it for a hot finish here, and I liked it. The Collector killed this sequence. Billy Zane acted his ass off, and I absolutely loved every second that he was on the screen during this set of scenes. From the seduction of the humans to the way that he betrayed Roach, and just he has this smug look on his face, and it's a natural look because he's an attractive guy, I think. But he just comes across as an asshole, and it's perfect for the role of the Collector, and to where he's like, I can get you to do what I want, just trust me. And then I really loved it. I love how Geraldine, I agree with you. I love how she was mysterious. You didn't know, okay, did he get to her? Did he not? And I agree with you. I had it wrote down as well. I wish that she hadn't spit in his face. I wish that she'd just had this bewildered look in her eyes, like maybe I should, maybe, because that would have just added to it more when you find out that she's straight. I think that Irene and Bob's deaths were very pointless. Like, there's no need for you to strap yourself up with grenades and just blow up. Like, that was a grenade.
Especially against demons. Like, what the? Come on.
Well, right, but at the same time, those are fucking grenades. Now, I could be completely wrong here, but I believe grenades are meant to be thrown. Just pull the pin and throw the damn things. You don't have to just stand there. Oh my God, I really hated that. But then, when they're in the attic, I did really love the explanation that they finally gave. This is what I meant earlier. I wish they would have saved all the Jesus flashbacks, and then just as he's finally filling her in on everything and telling her she's the one, she's the chosen one, as he's telling her what's happened, then we get the flashbacks, because I think it would have been more effective, because the flashbacks here actually were like, you could tell that she was feeling these flashbacks, not just we're seeing them. And so that's my nitpick there. I love the touch where Danny's flipping through the comic book, and it's actually Tales from the Crypt comic books. I thought that was a great touch. But yeah, I really enjoyed this set of scenes.
Man, I know we're in a lot of agreements tonight, but that's okay. I agree with both of you so much. This is my favorite set of scenes. It's not really that close. All the ways that I'll go to call him the Collector, although he's Billy Zane, goddammit. The way that he manipulates.
He did play Billy Zane in Zoolander, so
see, there you go. God damn it. The way that he, uses these manipulation or dream sequences or whatever the fuck you want to call it, where he's a much more like smooth, spot on, like smooth operator version of Freddy Krueger almost. Like, he's just, I love all of it. It's so good. And like you said, Billy Zane as the bartender is fucking great. That scene, I did not expect that much booby. Got a lot of booby. Didn't see that coming. All right. That's good stuff there. Not going to lie. Yeah. So you guys already mentioned Billy Zane really owns this stuff. And I think I like the character so much because normally when you get a movie like this, it's a little cheesy and hokey and over the top. The main demon would be as well. He'd be like, he, not the Crypt Keeper, but like just this like weird out there and bizarro thing. And that's not what the character that Billy Zane is playing. He's smooth. He's got a smooth talking voice. If you saw him in the street and you were a woman, I could see how the panties drop. I get it. Okay. So right there, it's a completely different kind of character. And in this set of scenes, you really get that. And you also get the demise of one of my least favorite characters in horror movie history, and that's Roach. Like, fuck you. All right. And you deserve to die from the very beginning, man. I didn't like this motherfucker. I'm glad he got his comeuppance, and he deserved to get his comeuppance as Lyle and George of the Jungle too. So suck it. All right.
God, I'm glad you said that because when he comes on the screen and anything he's in, I'm like, oh, fuck you, Lyle.
Yeah, same. I'm like, fuck you, Lyle. Dude, he came on the screen. I literally said, oh, fuck, Lyle, come on. But he's so good at being a smug jerk asshole that he gets me to buy in as his Lyle character in any movie that he's in. So that's how kind of good that character got over with me. So he definitely deserves, and I agree with you. One more thing, and I wrote it down too, man. Bob and Irene's death, completely unnecessary. Like, just the stupidest decision two horror movie characters have ever made. Like, and first of all, I would have liked to see Irene live. She's so damn funny with them. No, that's me giving you the fucking finger or whatever she said. That shit is great. Her one-liners are awesome. Like earlier, and I forgot to mention it with the "get that pussy off the table."
Oh yeah.
I was talking about the cat. Like her one-liners are really good.
Yeah, she says it and then she goes,
yeah, like she knew she had a good one with that. So I like that character. I was sad to see it go out and literally one of the stupidest decisions I have ever seen in a horror movie. Yeah, I love this set of scenes. Great job. Job well done. Much better than the set of scenes that came before. And I'm glad because I really needed it to pick me back up or it was going to lose me.
Man, you called him Lyle. I love you for that. That's
hey, he is Lyle from George of the Jungle to the end of time, man.
No disrespect to Thomas Hayden Church. I mean, you've been in some good stuff, but you're
yeah,
Lyle.
Yeah. Oh, all right, well, whatever, Lyle.
I was not expecting George in the Jungle references tonight. All right, these are the last two scenes. The collector ascends into the attic. He sees Breaker's dead body. He says he won't hurt Geraldine unless you make me. He says pour the blood out and avoid all the running. She grabs his hand and it burns him, and she drops down from the attic. And I wrote the hotel doesn't seem too devastated by all the grenade explosion. The collector grabs her and puts her in the tub, washing off, and she stabs the key in his eye, and then she drinks the blood. He drags her downstairs in the shower curtain. He grabs the key. They start to dance now. Then he pisses fire on her, it seems. He says, I love you, Geraldine, kinda. She spits the blood on his face, and he screams and melts in a fire. Then he becomes a skull with wings, and the building blows up. She fills the key with Breaker's blood. She leaves and gets on a bus. She puts blood on the bus entrance. The bus stops for a man, but he says he'll wait for the next one. He walks on foot in the desert, and he's dressed like the last collector. And now here's the ending, which is really cool. The Crypt Keeper's hand, it grabs a rose through a grave. He says Geraldine lived happily ever after. But he's in a hurry, though. He's going to his premiere. And then at the end, the producers guillotine his head off as the final cut with a nice little Crypt Keeper laugh, which was awesome. All right, Brian, what are your thoughts on the ending, brother?
You know, I'm really glad you said that about the grenades because I got it written down the same thing. I was like, what the hell was the use of those grenades when they didn't even blow up anything downstairs? It looked like they literally did nothing. But you know, as far as great as I think the last group of scenes are, the ending is a little bit like it drags on a little bit, especially when she has that blood in her mouth the entire time. And we all know as an audience, she's about to spit in his face, which that's why I said earlier, that whole setup to this didn't work only because Jada Pinkett Smith was terrible at looking like she didn't have a mouthful of blood. Like, I don't know, maybe don't really put it in her mouth until she's going to spit it out at the end or something. I don't know, but it was just too obvious. But you get more Billy Zane and awesome one-liners. So, I mean, there's not much to complain about there. Just him dragging her ass down the stairs, wrapped in that bubble wrap, just talking to her the whole time. I thought was pretty damn funny. With the whole fire coming out of his crotch and shit. It was classic. That made up for it. I did think the whole him trying to tell her he loved her was a little dumb and a little bit out of place. Like that one that's always rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. But him melting away, I thought was great effects. I thought they did a great job with that. Even if we did get that weird Hellraiser for no reason dragon demon thing there for a second. But, I thought the effects of the, did look just tremendous again. That bus driver isn't gonna ask at all, what the hell did you just pour on my bus, and why the hell did it just light up red? I mean, he just let her get on the bus. So I thought that was a little bit. I like how the ending was wrapped up pretty nicely. I loved all the Crypt Keeper end all the way up until he got on the red carpet. And for even since I was a little kid, I didn't like that. So I mean, you said it was awesome though, so I'm glad at least, it has a place. But I just personally, I always thought like the movie should have ended when he was still in the thing saying he was about to go to the premiere. A little fun fact is those are the actual producers of the movie that are standing there and did that. So this is just a little insert there. But, it's more John Kassir. So who can complain too much really about that? I mean, he's great as a Crypt Keeper. I haven't said his name enough. Friend of the show, by the way. Listen to an interview at don'tgooutthere.com. But it's again, I think it's a fun little movie.
Yeah, so I agree with what you guys said there. The ending could have been a little shorter. Like I feel like after the attic, we didn't need this much more movie, and a lot of that was made up for because you got more Billy Zane.
Exactly.
So it's like it's a trade off. It could have been shorter, but at the same time, he killed it. I like her covering herself with the blood. I thought that
Predator
was
style. Yeah,
and I like that touch. And I like the shower curtain improvisation by the collector. He's like, okay, well, I'll just cover you in plastic. And then when he drug her down the stairs, I laughed my ass off the way she just bounced off the stair to the next stair. Like that shit was hilarious. And then, but this set though, they could have cut a lot of it out. But at the same time, I did think it was funny when he's like, I love you. Do you think you could love me? Like, I like how he just couldn't say it. But I agree. There's like, what's the what? You just met her. She's human. You're not. Like it was out of place. But I do disagree with you in the sense of you said we didn't need that little Hellraiser style demon thing. I actually didn't mind that because it really drove home the fact that okay, he's not a human because he even going back to the podunk scene and all that. He's like, you humans are blah blah blah. And so then you get to visualize, okay, he's really something else trapped in a human body right now. So I didn't mind that. I love the bus scene when the guy's like, I'll take the next one. He had one line in the whole movie and he delivered. Like I thought he did a great job. And then he just starts whistling the Tales of the Crypt theme as he's walking. I thought I enjoyed that. And I agree with Nico. I like how, you said you liked the Crypt Keeper getting back involved too, and everything up until the red carpet. But I actually liked it all up until the beheading. Like I thought that was hilarious. He gets beheaded, and then he just gives that iconic laugh as the credits roll. I enjoyed it. Man, I'll definitely, like I said, I'd only watched this movie a couple times the other day, and then once again yesterday. I enjoyed it. Good stuff.
I'm really glad you guys enjoyed it. It actually makes me feel good. I thought that for sure you guys were going to hate it.
No, the movie's a lot of fun. I will say this last set of scenes drags, no doubt. But I'm kind of the opinion that most action-y sequences drag. That's just me. That's not a fact or anything. It's just my personal opinion. A lot of back and forth when it comes to final girl, final guy, or in an action movie or whatever. Some of that stuff kind of drags for me always. So that's just a personal preference there. There's some funny there, though. I mean, again, Billy Zane is great. I'm giving him his flowers already. The dance thing is funny. Like you said, Brian, the thing with the blood in the mouth is just so like, okay, if you say so. I like the scene where she tries to poke out his eye. And he's like, no, that's only for like level 1 demons, whatever the fuck he said.
And then he goes, who makes up these rules? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a little wink and nod at us because they are making this shit up as they go along. So yeah, I enjoyed that. I thought that was fun, but some of it could have been cut. One big complaint I have about that set of scenes is the lighting and the usage of it. And I know that's such a nerd thing to say, but it's dark. And I couldn't see some of it. Like, and I guess maybe that's just me having shitty eyes, but it was almost so dark that I couldn't see the two characters. Like, I don't know if it's just 1995 or what, but it reminded me a couple of the scenes in fucking Batman and Robin from the 90s, like
God,
where it was like really not the quality. This is much better than that film, but the way that it's shot, it's so dark and like not the good kind of dark either. Like not like grayscale dark, but like literally the room is dark, like a cave. I can't fucking see. So that was kind of a nitpick for me that I didn't really like. But I predictable ending, but that's not a bad thing. I'm glad that it did end that way. And I like everything with the Crypt Keeper. I know it's a little over the top and hokey, but that's the show. You're getting an hour and a half version of the show. And I like that they kept that. Now, it's not exactly like the show as far as in the middle, but I thought opening and closing with the Crypt Keeper was a lot of fun. And the red carpet thing I really enjoyed. So, Brian, I'm glad you made me watch this, man. I'm glad. I'm going to add it to the collection at some point because, again, it's just a fun movie. Is it scary? Hell no. But is it a lot of fun? Yeah, I definitely think so.
All right, y'all got any final thoughts here? I want to jump into fun facts.
ready to jump in?
All right, I've only got two of them. Birds had these are all from IMDb. Birds had nested in the rafters of the set, which caused audio problems. So before each take, the crew would shoot off a blank gunshot to startle and quiet the animals. I thought that was kind of cool. And then it was purposely released on Friday, January 13th, because the Tales from the Crypt movies were originally to be tied with traditional horror weekends, such as Friday the 13th or Halloween. That's the only two I got. I thought that was pretty interesting as well.
The only one that I've got that I haven't said is budgetary. So if Mike doesn't have it, I've got it, but I'm sure he does.
Yeah, man, I always got that pulled up. So if anyone else has anything,
No,
Brian, you have anything?
No, go for it. I've said mine.
Okay. The only one I had was it's not really a fun fact, was the thing about Billy Zane, this movie supposedly getting him his role in Titanic, which again, funny that this ended up being his favorite one over that one, because I could see that though. I could see playing this character being a little more fun than playing smug asshole in 1912. So, yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, especially all that cold water and shit. Nah, that's a lot of work, man. And James Cameron's kind of a dick when he directs you. So anyway, okay. So the Demon Knight had a $12 million budget and grossed $21.1 million. So not bad as far as making your money back.
Not bad.
I know that this movie, they had more Tales from the Crypt movies in mind, but I did read that, and I'm not 100% sure on this. Maybe Brian knows, but I did read that there are sequel scripts, but nothing ever came of any of those, as far as I know.
And Bordello of Blood is the only other one I've seen. I think there's three, but none of them have anything to do with each other. Bordello of Blood is the second one, but it does have like a little appearance of the key, but I don't think it has anything to do with the story. I think it's just like a Easter egg in there. Okay. But no, I don't think it's like an anthology type thing.
Yeah, Bordello of Blood was the second one in '96, so a year later. And then Ritual was the third of the series, and it came out in 2002. And everything I've saw online says that one is a steaming pile of dog shit. So,
hey, you can only go hokey and over the top and entertaining so many times, man.
All righty, y'all ready to jump into our least favorite kill, and the rating? Brought to you by Manscaped. You go to manscaped.com, get 20% off with the code Don't Go, and free shipping. Does anybody want to go first? Brian's going to go last tonight.
I can go first. I'm good.
All right, I'll go after you, Dustin.
All right, so for my favorite kill, I went with Sheriff Tupper being punched through the face. Like I loved it so much. I had to run it back. I had to watch it again. I love Sheriff Tupper getting punched through his face and then his head getting ripped off and tossed over to his deputy. Worst kill to me was Cordelia, just because of the special effects, man. She looked like Linda Blair from The Exorcist had been put in the microwave for a little bit, and then they used that on set. Like I just didn't think that the makeup looked very good, and it looked hokey. But that's okay. That's okay. And then overall, like I said, I like this movie. Does that make it a great movie? No. but it's got a solid storyline. It would have been even higher. See, this is kind of a weird catch-22 scenario, because maybe I would have given it a higher score without some of the over-the-top cheesy effects. But at the same time, maybe that's why I liked it so much. So it's kind of a tough one to grade as far as how good of a movie is this. But as far as enjoyability, it's pretty easy that it's better than Bones. Yeah, I like your guilty pleasure movie better than my own. I'm going to say this one is a solid 6.
Hey, Nico, can I go before you? Because mine's real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we have the same damn kills, Dustin. Fuck. The sheriff and Cordelia. I think the effects on her kill are awful. I'm sorry. Those are terrible. Like I said, a lot of the practical effects in this movie hold up, but her kill does not. Ugh. And again, the sheriff getting punched in the fucking head is awesome. I pop for that. I like, whoa, okay, love that. So same kills. So that's why I wanted to go after him, so I didn't have to have you go and then have me go and repeat his fucking kills. So my rating is a little bit like Dustin's, where I had to kind of grade this one on a curve, because if I look at this as a straight up horror film, then this movie gets a 2. It's not, it didn't have anything of a normal, typical horror movie that we would normally review. At least not in my opinion. But this movie is enjoyable. It had, of course it's in the horror genre. It's definitely under that umbrella. I'm not saying that. It has everything I love about cheesy slashers or, stuff like that. It has some of that stuff. It has the gore, it has the boobs, it has all that. So I'm a fan of that. Hey, I'm just telling you how slashers made a lot of money, man. Okay. Put boobs and a killer in there. That's all you need. So I had to grade it on a curve, and so taking my normal scale completely out of it and kind of doing a new thing here, I'm giving this movie a 6.5. I think it's really entertaining, and that seems low, but I mean it as a compliment, because
Same here.
This movie could be one of those really cheesy, like Bones. Like there's some redeeming qualities about Bones, but it's not a good film. This, I would argue, is a good movie for what it is and what it's trying to do. It knows what it is and it plays to that. So I'll go 6.5. I almost went 7. I came really close, but I couldn't do it because I thought of some of the other movies I gave a 7 to, and I can't do that.
All right. I really like the sheriff's kill too, but my favorite kill, I went with Willie getting his eyes impaled on the deer antlers. I thought that was really cool.
That's a good one.
My least favorite, I went with Irene and the deputy self-destruction. I mean, I feel bad for Sister Abigail. She shouldn't have to die in 2 movies. and the rating, I gave it a 5.75. I think that's pretty decent. I wrote, can definitely see this being a guilty pleasure movie. It's got some comedy. Billy Zane is fascinating as a collector. He was great. I wrote, there's really nice TNA. I'm a man. I'm going to enjoy some TNA. Good practical effects, but the house outside and the sky looked bad. And some of the other effects look kind of aged. The Jesus plot line didn't work for me. And the whole just being chased by the demons kind of got stale as well. Some of the acting is meh, but I love seeing CCH Pounder as well, because I love Orphan. And the biggest thing for me was friend of the show, John Kassir. He's one of the best voice actors in horror, and he was awesome. And I like seeing the Crypt Keeper. I like seeing my horror stars out of place, Jason, on a subway. I like seeing the Crypt Keeper on the red carpet. That was cool. So yeah, I gave it 5.75. I really enjoyed it, Brian. I know you were scared we were going to hate it, but I enjoyed watching it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm glad. I don't take that as a slash. I'm glad that, I'm glad that it's been rated as high as it has been so far. Again, I love this movie. For what it is. It's not a masterpiece. I said that to begin with. I would love to review some Tales from the Crypt episodes at some point, because I love some of those episodes of that show. There's one with Pesci in it, with twins. I won't spoil it, but if we ever get to do that, that's probably my favorite one that I've ever seen. Anyway, back to this. Again, Billy Zane I thought was fantastic. my least favorite kill that I wrote down was Willie, but it wasn't his head being rammed into the deer part that I didn't like. I didn't like the fake looking head chopped off thing. So I guess technically he didn't die there, but I don't know. I guess that's what I wrote down though. So I don't like that part of it, I guess. And my favorite kill, I of course wrote the Sheriff Punch kill too. Like it's just like, that's the first thing I wrote down. First thing I thought of before I could think of a least favorite kill. So I guess if I had to pick a different least favorite kill, Roach wasn't really on screen, and I would have liked to have seen that a little bit more, maybe. Anyway, my rating, I rated it a 7. Again, like I'm trying to rate on, I understand it's not a great movie. I think when I rate 7 or Silence of the Lambs, it was, hey, those are great movies and they're enjoyable, but mostly I'm ranking on like how much I enjoy them, and I really enjoy this, so I give it a 7.
All right, that gives our composite score a 6.3125. Much better than last week's 4.075. So I'll go fuck myself now.
Oh, Jesus.
Bones fucked me out an hour and a half of my life, so go ahead.
Oh, damn it!
I'm just kidding, bro.
I have a feeling that this is my next week is going to be the first one I picked that Dustin hates. Got a feeling.
I told Dustin last night in the chat. I was like, I have no idea how you're going to feel about this.
Oh, I think he's gonna hate it minus like 2 scenes.
Well, if he's never seen it, the first time I saw it, you guys know I hated it. But it has gotten better once you know what to expect. So it is going to be interesting upon first watch what Dustin thinks about it.
Well, if Chris
and we may or may not have a exclusive interview with the star. Maybe. You never know.
Maybe. Well, just maybe. I don't know.
I said maybe. Mike, do you want to go ahead and announce your pick for next week, brother, for Guilty Pleasure?
Yes, my guilty pleasure. And this was kind of hard for me because if I like a movie, I like a movie, and I'm not scared to tell people that. So for me, it was kind of like this. I know this movie is well received amongst the horror community for the most part, but it definitely has its naysayers, especially because of one really well-known scene. And once you see this movie, you can't unsee it. And so I picked Terrifier, starring Art the Clown.
Awesome. I'll save it. I'm looking forward to reviewing it. Yeah. I actually enjoyed rewatching it, so I'm looking forward to it. Is anybody got any final thoughts on Demon Night before we get out of here?
Hey, no final thoughts on Demon Night, but another special bonus show coming at the end of this month that I'm excited for, fellas. Just saying. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 higher than you. Let's go.
Oh, Lord. Before we get out of here, I just want to give a quick shout out. We dropped 2 interviews already with Dior Baird from Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Cobra Kai. She's been in a ton of big stuff, Wedding Crashers. And also another quick shout out to our interview with Lou Temple. Wow, I'm still kind of in awe of how good that interview was, honestly.
Great interview, fellas.
I wasn't expecting it to be that good, honestly.
Yes, it
was. Just sitting there during it was just absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Lou, for joining us. It was amazing.
And we were definitely in awe of the way that you went an hour and a half talking to us without taking one sip of water.
Not one fucking sip of water.
Legend.
An hour and a half. A fucking legend. I say a fucking legend, okay? That might be one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. But anywho, we really appreciate all the support, and y'all have a good night. Just want to remind everybody.